Have you ever got a trollish comment like this before? So, you start off with a clickbait title, then lead into email list on a channel with under 500 subs. This has got to be a late April Fool's joke. Let's talk about it. Thanks so much for tuning to another episode of the CIAS podcast. I'm your host, Brian, and on today's episode, we're going to talk about this troll comment that I got recently. And it may not be what you think, because I am not one to be overly combative, especially when it comes to the internet world, because confrontation isn't really my friend. And honestly, I feel like all conflicts are resolved outside of emotion. So I will say that when I first received that comment, I did have a response, and of course, it wasn't anything that bad, but I did think through it, and after a couple minutes, I decided I wanted to remove that, and then also ended up blocking this user because that is not the type of channel that we have. Our channel is meant to help inspire and encourage others through our own experiences. So anyone who would find the video, they might think that this is a place to be combative or to let negativity kind of run, and that isn't what we're all about. So I did end up taking it down, but I thought there were some really great points in the comment that can help encourage you, as it's encouraged me as I've thought about it more and more. And that's exactly what I want to talk about today. The internet is such a powerful place. It helps us stay connected with others, share our art and creativity, and also build real, meaningful relationships. But we also know that there is a dark side to it, where there are people that are out there that are just excited to discourage us for whatever reason. I would like to think that it's because of their own insecurities, because we're all created in God's image, so we all have the opportunity to encourage and edify each other. But some people out there just enjoy trying to bring others down, but we can take that negativity and we can spin it for positive and let it be the fuel of us moving forward on our own journey. And of course, this kind of stuff happens in real life as well. This is not just an internet thing. There are many discouragers out there that will tell you or say things to you, whether in person or virtually, that may try to discourage you. We're not going to let that keep us down. We're moving through all of that because we were meant to do what we're doing, and nothing can hold us back from doing that. Because whenever we hear a word of discouragement, we can take it one of two ways. We can let it keep us in place, or, like I said before, we can let it be the fuel that actually pushes us further than we would have gone without it. Because yes, sometimes these things are very hurtful and we can't just move past that. Sometimes people say things that can keep us really insecure and make us feel like we almost want to give up. But again, if this is our calling, if this is what God has called us to do, nothing can get in the way of that, because all of that negativity is just a lie of the enemy trying to keep us from getting the word out there to impact people for good. And that choice is up to us. We decide if we're going to let it bring us down or we're going to let it propel us forward. So I recently received this comment on one of these CIAS podcast videos, and it says, so you start off with a clickbait title, then lead into email list on a channel with under 500 subscribers. This has to be a late April Fool's joke. So like I said, I initially did have a comment and response back, but took all that stuff down. But I did think it was something that I really wanted to talk about on this episode, because there's a few things that stick out to me. For one, the title of the video was not clickbait. It was saying something like, this one thing will help you build your fan base, which I believe email marketing is a great way to build your fan base. So that is not a clickbait title. Secondly, this is the part that I kind of wanted to hone in on the most, is the part about the under 500 subscribers. So first thing is, my email list is not under 500 subscribers. For us, we've been building it for years, and it's reaching a lot of people, and you might even be on that email list. And every week, we get to send out helpful content that will encourage and inspire others along their songwriting journey. And sometimes we have great things like our CIAS songwriting intensives, we have our retreat, we have our Logic Preps for Artists and Songwriters course. So we're able to offer these things to a specific audience that is most likely to benefit from these things. Although our YouTube subscriber is currently under 500, our email list is not. And there are various other channels. And I would like to say, I want to shout out my friend Matt Lafayette. He actually commented back because he caught the comment when it was live. He said some very nice and encouraging things. So Matt, if you're listening to this episode, thank you so much. I appreciate you, brother. That means a lot. And another thing that struck me is when I did go to this commenter's page, they had no videos, they had no interaction, and it wasn't even a real name. So my thought was, wow, all that you're hoping to do is bring other people down? That's so sad. Like I said before, I feel like that has to be due to some insecurity, because whoever that person is, They are valuable. They have things to share. They have things to inspire and encourage, but they're choosing, due to whatever their life has been like, to try to bring others down, which is really sad. And that all points to lies and inaccuracy, especially when it comes to calling people out on things that aren't true. So that part about the 500 subscribers really got me thinking. I think it applies to you as well. So if we don't want to grow and we want to stay the same on our artistry or songwriting journey, which I don't think that we do, or else we wouldn't be watching this video, then we don't need to do anything different. We just need to create our songs for the 17 diehard fans that come to our coffee shop, and we love those 17 people, and those people are the foundation for all of this stuff. But if we feel like we've been called to put our songs on the lips of thousands of people in churches on Sunday mornings, or to fill arenas with the melodies that we've been given to write, then we have to write songs for those people. We can't only write for our current audience. We need to write for the audience that we want to grow into. So the comment this person made to me was insinuating that because I have less than 500 subscribers on this YouTube channel currently, that I don't have anything valuable to say because I haven't proven that I know how to do that. But like I mentioned, our email list is much larger than 500. We have other social media channels that have much larger than 500 numbers. But that doesn't mean that I am only going to create in this small-minded way to think, okay, this is it. I'm only going to do things that's going to be for these people, and I'm not going to try to grow with my audience or grow my audience, because that is not how you continue to make impact in wider and bigger ways. So that was one crucial point that I wanted to bring up, is that yes, we all start off with zero, maybe one, maybe our mom is our big fan, or our sister, or our brother, or our spouse. But if we aim to reach the people that we feel called to, then we have to write songs for those people, even if they're not here yet. My father-in-law has a great quote, and he says, "Don't dress for the job you have, dress for the job that you want." And you may have heard that quote before. And this doesn't mean that we need to pretend or act like we're something we're not. This means that we have to be in the mindset that we are moving towards something grander than where we currently are. Because just like with a job, say in a corporate job, you're probably going to start off at a lower position and work your way up. You wouldn't show up to an interview for the next promotion in the same clothes that you maybe wore at the current position. You want to dress for the next job up. And that's no different in this circumstance. If we want our songs to reach thousands, then we have to write songs that can reach thousands. That may come down to finding great co-writers. That may come down to finding great producers. That may come down to doing great photo shoots. That may come down to hiring people to help us with marketing. Whatever the case may be, if we want to grow and we want to reach the people that we feel we're supposed to reach, then we have to act accordingly, and we have to push ourselves to do that. Otherwise, we could be stunting our own growth by trying to just stay the same, being happy with what we have, and letting that be it. A plant cannot outgrow the pot that it's in. So sometimes we may need to plant ourselves or seeds in an open field, a wide open field, which this can be scary because, for one, you're putting yourself out there. You can be seen much easier in an open field. There's not as much to lean on. There's not as many things to go into. But if we really want to grow, we got to take ourselves out of our comfort zone. Otherwise, we're just going to overgrow in our little pots. And the thing about that is we might eventually die out because there's not enough soil for our roots to go deep enough to keep us sustained. So it can be scary, yes, but stepping out of our comfort zone is so critical. And that is all thinking about the future, because when we plant ourselves out there in this metaphorical field, then we have a lot more space for people to come in and be aware of what we're doing. We all are going to find people that are going to discourage us. The bigger we get, the more percentage of people will be out there that might want to bring us down. They might just not want us to succeed. It might be due to their insecurities. We have no idea of what the reasoning is, but it's all in how we react to it. Like I said in the beginning, we can let that be the thing that drains us, or we can let that be the thing that powers us up to reach new heights that we would never have reached. Because honestly, it can be good to have some people out there that might be speaking against what we're doing, because that is a reminder that we are on the right path. Because like I said, the more people that we reach, we're going to have a percentage, the more negative influences, the more negative voices are going to speak into that. So not that we want that, but it's going to be a natural thing that happens as we grow on our music journey. You may not have the monthly listeners that you want. You might not have the stream count that you think you should have, but that doesn't mean that you won't ever have it. God has called you to be creating in this exact point in history. You could have been made any time, but He needs you to be creating now. Now, yes, not all of us are meant to reach millions. That's not necessarily our path. But the only way to find that out is by pushing ourselves. The only way to find that out is by stepping out of our comfort zone. The only way to ever have the potential to reach the millions is by writing songs that the millions can hear. And that's by moving beyond just our current audience, because our current audience is everything. It's the most important thing we have. And so if that's 10 people, that is amazing. If that's 1,000 people, that's amazing. It's all relative and it's all specific to your journey. But if we want to keep chasing the dreams that God has put in our hearts, then we have to dress for the job that we want, not the one we have. We have to be willing to plant seeds in open fields, and then God will do what He's going to do with our journey. But it's up to us to step outside and say, hey, people are going to say things to me that might try to keep me down, but I'm not going to let it. I'm going to push beyond that. I'm going to let that fuel me on my journey. So I want to know, has someone left you a discouraging comment or said something to you? You don't have to necessarily say what it is if you don't feel comfortable with that, but comment below and let me know. And if you're here on YouTube, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the bell notification. And I will see you next Friday at 5 a.m. on the CIAS podcast.